Oh, howdy do you know, beautiful sons of bitches? It's your boy Max here, and today John and I are back with more reviews of the original Marvel comic series of Star Wars Back in the Gap. John, are you hyped to finally be back at it again?
We're so back,
We are
Pete.
so back. Anyways, so let's just jump right into it. So we open up this video with issue 25, Siege at Yavin. So in this plot, after their escape from the wheel, Leia and Luke arrive at Centauri's to trade in the spoiled sport, that was the yacht ship, for a more practical and less traceable ship. As they leave the planet, they discover that a House of Tag mining explorer is on its way to Yavin. Knowing the Tags' ties with the Empire and leaving for the security of the rebel base on Yavin 4, they follow them and investigate further. They discover that the mining explorer is transporting Imperial TIE fighters to the planet Yavin and hiding the fighters in the thick gas giant. Luke and Leia realize that this can only mean danger for the rebel base nearby and rush to alert them, but they are intercepted by an Imperial patrol. So, John, thoughts on that issue right there?
Well, I compare this whole like siege to the even though these are like mostly like kind of filler comics because they didn't know where the movies were going.
Right.
Um, they managed to make it like 10 times more interesting and like thought out than fucking Obi-Wan whenever it had a siege and they were like, oh, why are we under siege? Oh, let's just march in and kill them all. It's like, why the fuck were we sitting around making a siege then?
Exactly.
uh or the fucking chase in Last Jedi, which is pretty much a siege of its own making, with retarded logic. It's like, well,
Right.
even these filler comics can like manage to make something actually interesting and like have the main characters be clever to overcome it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, on to issue number 26. The Empire, called Doom Mission. The Empire has set up a blockade of the Gordian Reach sector, and Luke and Leia, on their way back to the Rebel base on Yavin 4, are ambushed by two Imperial TIE fighters. Just as the situation appears hopeless, a Rebel X-Wing patrol arrives and destroys the two enemy fighters. Once they finally arrive at the base, they inform General Jan Dodonna about the events that they observed earlier, where TIE fighters were entering the gaseous atmosphere of Yavin. Since Yavin's atmosphere is too thick for conventional signaling, they deduce that the House of Tag and the Empire have developed some new signaling technology and set up a launch station within the gas giant. Luke goes on a mission to retrieve one of the signaling units from a downed TIE fighter, but at the cost of critical damage to R2-D2. Luke then pilots a captured TIE fighter fitted with the new signaling unit through the atmosphere of Yavin to the Actnak turbine station. He destroys the station without trouble, but must find his way back to open space without the benefit of guidance from the station. Using the Force to direct him, Luke manages to find his way out of the thick atmosphere. Little does he know that Baron Orman Tag followed him out, saving himself from being lost on Yavin forever. So, John, thoughts on that issue right there?
Oh, even as more clever villains, because Ormond Tag is even more interesting with just his his little guy Shanks, and he's was blinded by Vader apparently at some point. So
Yeah.
he's like got his own motivations where he's kind of trying to just one up Vader by like getting more in the Emperor's good graces. So even though they haven't introduced the Emperor and they wouldn't for some time, it's like they're still like incorporating him into the story more cleverly than, again, shit like Andor where they just mention him as like a little member berries thing and he's
Yeah.
never shown for some reason. At
Yeah.
least they had the excuse that he wasn't shown yet in anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. That is true. True. So then we move on to issue number 27, where the bounty hunter Baylord Valance has come to the world of Ferrier Junction, where he shoots a cantina patron named Marco Tyne and then retreats to his agent Skinker to collect the bounty. Valance's payment is a collection of rebuilt droids, which he melts into slag with several blasts from his weapon. Forced to live as a cyborg due to his injury sustained from an aerial torpedo, Valance has an irrational hatred of all droids, and he hunts them down wherever he can find them. Valance's next mission is to find Luke Skywalker. Not only is Luke a droid owner, but he also apparently treats them as equals, which Valance finds repulsive. Meanwhile, Luke has taken C-3PO with him in a blockade runner and is mapping out the perimeter of the Galactic Empire's most recent blockade. He deftly maneuvers the runner out of the way of an oncoming Imperial cruiser before making the jump to hyperspace. Now, Luke has to find a trading post so that he can find parts needed to make repairs to this disabled R2-D2. He lands the blockade runner on Junction. Valance discovers that an Imperial spy has been trying to alert the Empire as to Valance's presence on Junction. Valance, being an Imperial defector, cannot let his whereabouts be known, so he shoots the spy, killing him before he can transmit a signal. Luke and C-3PO arrive at Skinker's salvage yard. They acquire the parts they need, but before long, Valance returns and finds them. He tries firing at Luke with his blaster, but Luke deflects the shot with his lightsaber. The blast arcs back, striking Valance in the face. Part of his flesh is melted away to reveal cybernetic parts beneath Valance. Valance manages to get Luke's blaster and saber away from him and is prepared to kill him. In a moment of bravery, C-3PO stands between Luke and Valance, declaring that he is ready to sacrifice himself for his master. Moved by behavior which is typically uncharacteristic for a droid, Valance decides to let him go. All right, John, thoughts on that issue right there?
Well, it's all these stupid people that are like, well, Luke never, he's a Gary Stu, so you can't insult Rey. It's like Luke actually fucking loses the fight. And it's an interesting fight too, because it's like balancing Luke's got kind of the upper hand because of his lightsaber, but then Valance can block it, but he also has his power cores to kind of like worry about, since he's technically running on a sort of battery, I suppose. To basically, he's got like 3 blasts. I think he says like, oh, I only need like 2 more blasts to take you down, after Luke says it's going to use a lot of power to basically block a lightsaber. So he's kind of all full of gadgetry. He's not like quite a cyborg of DC, but he's he's got little tricks he pulls out. And then it actually made 3PO come in a serious manner where he gets his cojones up and gets in there to save Luke. And it kind of like makes sense given Valance's entire character that he would like kind of be have an existential crisis because of this. I forget why is he affected by droids again, or what's the what's like tragic backstory? I thought they explained it last time when they showed him that, like, I forget, droids like killed somebody, or I forget.
I honestly don't remember that. I kind of forgot. I'm gonna have to go back and reread that stuff. But yeah, I think they did explain it, but I just don't remember. But yeah, but like until then, it's like he just hates droids because why the fuck not? But anyways, so then after that, then we move on to issue number 28, last issue reviewed, Whatever Happened to Jabba the Hutt. So in this issue, a rough re-entry of the Millennium Falcon from hyperspace prompts Han Solo and Chewbacca to land on the mid-rim world Orlean, a smuggler's hideout constantly besieged by rain. As Han and Chewbacca make repairs, the Wookiee notes that the cavern they had sheltered the Falcon in is leaking. Han and Chewbacca's attention is diverted by the arrival of Jabba the Hutt. Jabba's forces assault the cavern to drive Han and Chewbacca into the open, but the 2 smugglers are faced with another problem. The entire cavern ceiling is infested with stone mites, living weapons from the Clone Wars that can eat through anything. The stone mites pour onto the Falcon, and Han and Chewbacca barely make it on board. At Han's suggestion, Chewbacca uses the Falcon's laser cannons to blast away the cavern roof. The Falcon escapes through the blasted surface and leaves Orlean, confronting Jabba the Hutt's ship, the Void Raker, in orbit. Through transmissions from the Void Raker, Han and Chewbacca discovered that the stone mites might have infested Jabba's ship. As the only survivor, Jabba pleads with Han for sanctuary on the Falcon. Jabba jets over in his flight suit, but Han's quote-unquote payment for allowing him sanctuary on the ship, not in it, is that his and Chewbacca's debts are canceled. And so, John, what are your thoughts on that issue right there?
Well, it's always a little awkward whenever they have a Jabba the Hutt in
Yeah.
these, for one, and
Yeah,
then
so to recap everyone, the Jabba in this issue is not actually Jabba. It's actually his Nimbanel accountant, Mosep Benid, who would sometimes use Jabba's name whenever he interacted with other people. Yeah.
so that's obviously another product of them just not having the movies out yet,
Right.
for them to base it off of. But he, I, I felt this one was like a little bit. This one was definitely like you felt more fillery because it's basically
Yeah.
like get Han stuck in a cave and then like the termite ex machinas, space mites. Sorry, space. It's literally a fucking Dragon Ball Z abridged joke. They're like, it's space mites. They're from space.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like they basically like come in as a space mites ex machina because it like off screen it disables all of Jabba's crew and like makes him desperate to make a deal with Han after he had like instead of like having any of his guys to fight or anything like that. It's just kind of like, oh, we escaped and look, Jabba's been incapacitated off screen.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit silly, kind of just like, okay, that's kind of in one ear and out the other because nothing was really accomplished. I guess he got his debt canceled, but we know by the time Empire comes about that that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all she wrote for these four issues. Yeah, yeah. Aside from the Valance one, that one, like, I didn't care for the other three at all. These just felt like, hang on, let me check. What year did these all come out again? So okay, so John, at this point now, we're in August of '79. So Empire's right around the corner. This definitely does feel like they're just kind of like biding time, like treading waters, like trying to keep the audience invested because they know ESB's coming soon, but like they don't know what the hell to do. So like they're just like throwing whatever at the wall to see what sticks at this point. But even then, like the stories just they weren't all that interesting to me. So now they're not bad, but yeah, at the same time, it's like they're not like good either, if that makes sense. That's where it's kind of
Yeah,
at for me.
just
So
kind of like treading water and
yeah,
like
exactly.
at least they do have them still like act in character, but it's still just
True.
like kind of more of the same as far as like, oh, Leia, she can't decide. Luke's still, trying to figure things out. We broke R2 just so we can have a whole plot or two to repair him. It's like they
Yeah.
kind of just making problems for them to solve. And it is really like an anime filler arc where it's like, we're gonna get right back to where we started by the end of this.
Yeah.
I think they had to keep them on Yavin because they probably weren't sure with Empire whether they would start out there or not, maybe.
Yeah, I
Um,
imagine that. Yeah.
because the rebels like still not leaving Yavin is a little silly just because like the Empire would obviously know like the Empire knowing where they were was like immediately we have to evacuate basically.
Yeah, and they were planning to escape. They were planning to like find a new base as early as like issue 8, and yet like damn near and then like exactly 20 issues later, they're still not gone yet.
Leia
Now at
even
least
mentions like all the other pilots died basically. Like Luke was the only one that made it back. So it just
yeah,
makes Dodonna's just fucking throwing people into the meat grinder. He's like, go find us a new base. Fuck you.
yeah. Yeah, it's a little silly, yeah. But anyways, that's gonna be it for. Oh yeah, John. Any other final thoughts before we head out?
Nah, that's pretty much it. I'd
All
probably say
right.
the Han Solo one was the worst.
Yeah.
Just because you really felt the filler there, but the other
Yeah.
ones, yeah, weren't great. I do like Valance though, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment below, subscribe if you're more like this, and we'll see you guys next time in the backseat. Take care.